Support for this podcast comes from the St. Alphonsus Neuroscience Institute, offering technology to provide treatment for neurological, neurosurgical, and neurointerventional conditions. This includes a dedicated neurotrauma ICU for critical care of the brain or spine and a 24/7 stroke team. More at stalphonsus.org.
Start the new year with a commitment to independent journalism. When you become a supporter of Boise State Public Radio, you ensure deeper reporting, stronger investigations, and the trusted coverage you rely on every day.
I'm very grateful for all of the balanced reporting, and I will continue to be a sustaining member.
Your gift keeps fact-based news available to everyone in our region. Begin the new year by becoming a donor at boisestatepublicradio.org.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's Daily News. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Idaho is in the spotlight today as the U.S. Supreme Court takes up a controversial Idaho law. We've got that story, plus a big debate on closed roads in Valley County. It is Tuesday, the 13th of January. Here we go with today's stories. Expect another year of government cuts and no raises for state employees, that under Governor Brad Little's newly proposed budget. James Dawson reports.
The spending plan would make Little's 3% budget cuts permanent, along with more than $500 million in additional cuts to clean water, transportation, and Medicaid. It's all to deal with a projected budget deficit. Still, he says the pain will be temporary.
Idaho's fundamentals remain among the strongest in the nation. Your dollar stretches further here than anywhere else.
Democrats say this is a self-inflicted wound after many years in a row of tax cuts. Assistant Senate Democratic leader James Ruckty wants to dip into rainy day funds to fill the gap.
The rainy day funds are taxpayer money that we've set aside wisely to take care of situations like this.
That's a non-starter for Republicans. House Speaker Mike Moyle says there's no cause for alarm.
I do hear a lot of griping and concerns right now because we may have to do a little bit of trimming on budgets, but it's not that much.
The legislature's budget committee begins its work this morning. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
One additional note: in his State of the State address yesterday, the governor did voice his support for more funding to strengthen access to medical services, especially in rural Idaho. Also on Monday, the Idaho Medical Association, in a message to not only the public but the legislature, launched a campaign that they call Your Care is Our Care.
As we dive into the 2026 Idaho legislative session, we just thought this was a great opportunity given the amount of discussion on healthcare issues and even surrounding the physician workforce.
Susie Keller is the CEO of the Idaho Medical Association. She told us that, yes, yesterday's announcement came at a particular time, the day that Idaho lawmakers begin a session that will undoubtedly include a consideration of Idaho's physician workforce.
And just reminding patients in the noise of insurance companies and bureaucratic red tape and laws that are sometimes difficult with accessing care for patients, that physicians are there for them. They trained to take care of people, and that's really what they want to do.
And a recent report said the annual impact of the healthcare sector in Idaho is $10.4 billion. In the nation's capital today, the U.S. Supreme Court will be hearing arguments on a challenge to the Idaho law that bans transgender women and girls from participating in the sports that align with their gender identity. Owen Henderson reports.
Lindsay Hecox wanted to try out for the Boise State University track team in 2020, but because she's trans, Idaho law would have required her to run for the men's team, not the women's. So she sued. Courts initially sided with Hecox, then narrowed the ruling to apply only to her and not other athletes. In 2024, Idaho appealed to the High Court. Peter Wren with LGBTQ advocacy group Lambda Legal says the decision in this case could be fairly narrow.
What we've seen historically from this court is that it tends to rule in cases in this field on fairly case-specific grounds rather than reaching out and deciding questions that it doesn't have to decide today.
ACLU Idaho will represent Hecox. In a statement, it said this law is part of an effort to, quote, exclude transgender people from public life and undermine civil rights for all, end quote. 29 states currently restrict trans athletes' participation in sports. In his own statement, Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador said it's an injustice to allow trans women to compete with athletes assigned female at birth. Hecox asked the court to drop the case, saying she wanted to focus on graduating. A federal judge declined to do so, but the High Court may still dismiss the case after hearing arguments.
In Valley County Monday, a good many people wanted to have their say over closed roads. Last week, we first told you of a portion of South Fork River Road hit by a landslide. It's the main connection to the community of Yellow Pine. Meanwhile, recreationists, outfitters, trail groomers say they're concerned about protocols that may or may not close nearby Warm Lake Road due to a possible avalanche danger there. Tawny Robinson manages the North Shore Lodge at Warm Lake. She says her business is awful right now.
Everybody's canceled. They've sort of just written off the area due to not getting enough information. And I also do think that the mining shouldn't continue, or those trucks shouldn't go through if there is a danger. They can't just close it for everybody and continue to use the road at will. I think there should be an independent weather forecast or avalanche forecast that doesn't have somebody's agenda behind it.
Meanwhile, Belinda Provancher, Community Relations Manager for Perpetua Resources, which uses Warm Lake Road for its upcoming mining operations, says they're moving vehicles in and out on that road most weekdays.
Access is open to all. Recommend chains on cars, trucks, trailers, etc. Perpetua, starting January 16, we are scaling back large vehicles on that road to a Monday to Thursday to open up long weekends every weekend through the end of winter.
Meanwhile, Valley County lawmakers are busy crafting new practices and policies regarding emergency road closures.
One of the misinformation that is out there that I will state, the county is the only one that can close that road. States, the county is the only one that can close any road. It doesn't matter which road it is. So no company can close a road without the county commissioner's approval. So I think that has been misinformation that is out there in the public.
That's Valley County Commissioner Sherry Maupin. She is encouraging residents to keep a close eye on the county's Facebook page and the Code Red app to look for official updates on roads and possible closures. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. I would really like you to sign up for our Legislative Roundup newsletter, which arrives in your inbox each week. It's a great way to make sure you didn't miss anything from what's going on at the State House. You can sign up at boisestatepublicradio.org. For this Tuesday, from me to you, thanks for listening.
How does AI even work? Where does creativity come from? What's the secret to living longer? TED Radio Hour explores the biggest questions with some of the world's greatest thinkers. They will surprise, challenge, and even change you. Listen to NPR's TED Radio Hour wherever you get your podcasts.